Okay, guys, now this next part, it says, it gives us a definition for a margin of error. It says the margin of error of a random sample defines an interval centered on the sample percent, defines an interval centered on the sample percent is most likely to lie. Did that make sense? The margin of error of a random sample defines an interval centered on the sample percent where it is most likely to lie. I think it should say where it is most likely to lie. For example, a sample percent of 32% with a margin of error of plus or minus 5% means that the population percent is most likely between 27 and 37. Where did those two numbers come from? Liam?
Plus or minus 5.
Well, I took 32%, right? 32% plus 5 and 32% minus 5. And I got 37 and 27. So that means that the answer, the actual thing, is going to be somewhere between 27 and 37%. That's a pretty big margin of error, really. Okay? And then they did it on a number line, and they showed us, okay, if this is the number we get, we expect that it's somewhere between here and here. That's a pretty big number. That's a pretty big margin of error. Okay? But let's look at this example number 2. It says a survey of a random sample of voters predicts that candidate A will receive 52% of the votes and that candidate B will receive 48% of the votes. The margin of error is plus or minus 3%. Can you predict who will win the election? Well, let's take candidate A, who seems to be leading right now, right, with 52%. But remember, the margin of error is plus or minus 3%. So that means that the actual percentage could be 52 plus 3 or 52 minus 3. So that means that the actual answer is going to fall somewhere between 55% and 49%. That means it could fall anywhere in this range. Can we predict that that candidate's going to win? It looks likely, doesn't it? But is it possible that he only gets 49% and she gets 51%? It's possible because it's within that margin of error. Do you see that? Any questions about that? Yeah, Liam.
How do you find the margin of error?
They give that to us. And it's, I'm sorry, a margin of error is a long statistical formula or algorithm, and I don't know it. I mean, I would have to look at it.
Okay.
But I think it's based on certain percentages of an overall thing. Okay? All right. Good job, guys. Let's look at the next example.